Political strategist, partner of Steinhauser Strategies, CEO of the Alliance for Secure AI, Brendan Steinhauser, joins us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Brendan, thanks for being with us.
Happy to be with you guys. Good morning.
With the president saying that J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio would make a formidable team, I think a lot of people have noticed that compared to other VPs and vice presidents, that J.D. Vance has been a lot more face forward in a lot of different ways than most, if not many, of his predecessors. Not really, I think, much of a surprise that the president would say what he said. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think J.D. Vance is actually one of the most effective communicators in the Republican Party in a generation. I've always been impressed with how he takes tough questions. He goes into the belly of the beast in the media that can often ask hostile questions, and he does a really great job of explaining and defending the positions of the administration. So you couple that with just being young and dynamic and whip smart, and I think he's got a lot of political talent. He wouldn't have, gotten the nod to be VP if he didn't. But I think he's just got a really unique talent, and I think the president sees that. And the president sees that J.D. is also very loyal to him and to the administration, and he doesn't try and get in front of the parade. He always defers to the president and the commander-in-chief. And so I think the president values that and sees J.D. as a potential leading light for him to carry on the MAGA movement beyond Trump's administration.
Do you think that J.D. Vance, what changes or what tweaks do you think that Vance would make to the so-called MAGA movement?
I don't really think there would be any major policy tweaks. I think he would follow a lot of the same ideas, a lot of the same plans. I think in some ways J.D. might even be more strategic about it. And, maybe on the tariff side of things, it might be, more deliberative and kind of more thoughtful than sometimes the president operates. But the president likes to keep people on their toes. I understand that. But I do think J.D. would probably lay out kind of a more long-term, planned-out approach on tariffs and things like that. But, yeah, I don't think there'd be a lot of major policy differences. And I think that Vance would just be able to go toe-to-toe not only in any Republican primary, but in the general election as well, and really out-debate most people. And I don't really see him losing too many people on the right or losing people from the MAGA movement. So I think he's a formidable candidate. Now, all that being said, it's very early in the process. There are other really talented people on the Republican side who could compete for the nomination.
All right. The president did mention Marco Rubio. Beyond Marco, who do you think would potentially be in there as, somebody to spoil it for Vance?
Yeah, Rubio is an obvious choice, just given his track record, his national profile, et cetera. And there's some others that maybe are less known at this point who might emerge, but it's hard to do that and be successful. But I would also keep an eye on Republican governors and cabinet secretaries out there. One governor that I'm a little biased towards because I live in his state, and that is Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. But you look at what he's done to help Trump secure the border and taking action when Biden was failing to secure the border. And you look at the governor's actions on right now, how he's taking on the Democrats who are fleeing the state and trying to tell them basically come back or we will arrest you and have special elections to replace you. I think he's really captured the zeitgeist on the right, and I think Abbott could be one of those candidates that's very smart politically, has been elected a number of times in Texas, could be really strong. And there are others like that out there that I think would be in the mix as well. And frankly, I think it would be a very deep bench.
All right, let's flip the coin here. If you were to guess who the front runner would be, if you had to, go to Vegas and make a bet on it for the Democrats, who do you think it would be?
That's a tough one. The Democrats are trying to figure out what to do next. Their progressive wing is obviously ascendant. You've obviously seen Governor Newsom in California make some big moves, and he's got a big national profile. He's probably doing the most to try and position himself, but I don't think that necessarily equates to a nomination for the Dems. It's really hard, and they don't have as much talent on their side, I would say, as the Republicans do. So I probably would put some money down on a Newsom. I'd probably put some money down on someone who emerges from the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. It could be AOC. It could be a lesser-known candidate who emerges and captures lightning in a bottle. But yeah, unfortunately for the Democrats, there's not too much talent out there. I guess another person I might throw out there is Governor Whitmer from Michigan. I know she's been interested in that. Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, of course, the governor of Pennsylvania. But it's hard to predict. We're a long way away, but I think that's how I would try and spread my money out if I were in Vegas on this one.
You didn't mention Harris at all. You think she's done?
I do. I think based on her comments and her behavior, I think that she's probably done. She's made it clear she's not running for governor of California. And I think she faced such a kind of disastrous campaign. It did not go well, and I think a lot of Democrats saw that. And I don't think there's a lot of appetite for her. I think they're going to look for someone who hasn't yet been tested nationally, but that has built a bit of a national profile from one of these states like California or Pennsylvania or elsewhere.
One name that does kind of keep coming up is Pete Buttigieg. Do you think that he's going to make a stab at it?
It seems like he's interested. It's tough to kind of be a retread, if you will, and to knock at the nomination in a previous cycle and, come back and get the nomination. Obviously, it has been done. Joe Biden did it successfully, obviously, the last presidency here after losing the nomination a couple of times. But Buttigieg has some political talent. He certainly has some energy on the left. I don't know if he's got the same sort of buzz that some of these other folks do. He appeals to Democratic donors, I think. Obviously, he has some bona fides to share. But, I wouldn't say he did a great job as Secretary of Transportation, so I think that's going to hurt him a little bit. But he's definitely interested and should be a name that is considered in the mix.
All right. Brendan, thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning.
Thank you.
Take care.